Alright, so I'm Japanese, living in the US almost for 10 years. And I always get a comment asking me, why did you move to America? Like, why not stay in Japan? Hope it's not hate comment. Hope it's not anti-immigrant comment, but just kindness. And I do understand the question, why they're curious. Because lately, you see a lot of good part of Japan, right? And I see that too. And now, I feel like I'm standing one of the biggest turning point in my life. Question is, should I stay in the US or move back to Japan? I've been thinking that lately. So the reason why I moved to the US is that my mom was living in the US when she was high school and college. And she brought me when I was 2 years old. And I still remember that I was shocked, especially fire trucks. I'm not joking. And because of movies and music and the cultures, I had a huge admire to America. And also, to be honest, I feel like I didn't fit in Japan. I speak pretty straightforward and very honest that most Japanese doesn't. So had a lot of moments like I'm not really fitting in Japan. To be honest, when I was in Japan, I really hate it because peer pressure in Japan is huge. People expect you like what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to be according to your age, according to your gender sometimes. And also the company I was working in Japan, they make a movie or the production company in Japan, they do like for the TV. And working culture was insane. I think it's get better now because that was 10 years ago, but I really hate it. After I worked the production company in Japan, I quit and I decided to move to New York to study art, thinking I can get something I couldn't get in Japan, or I can find myself that I couldn't see myself in Japan. Because I thought America has more freedom of speech and mind and more respect individuals, like a different personality and kind of stuff that I didn't feel it that much in Japan. And also I really wanted to do art. So I moved to New York. I was right. I felt New York was more open and strong, like everyone has a strong opinion and you can be really who you are. At the same time, people really don't give a shit. And I kind of like that. And then somehow I made it and somehow I was able to get scholarship from MFA program in New York, a School of Visual Arts. And I got a job and I was lucky to work for famous artists and also I worked for the galleries. But at the same time, I kept making art and had some shows. But I realized that it's so hard to keep making art in New York City. It's really tough. New York became art place because it was cheap. You know, when Andy Warhol was here, the rent was really cheap. And the Soho place, now you see a lot of high brand place, but that was really cheap storage place for artists. But as you know, New York is not cheap place anymore. I see New York is changing. Many good old businesses are closing down. A lot of people moving out from New York City, like many of my classmates already moved out to New York City because they can't afford. It's not, there is art, but it's not very place for the artist anymore because it's just too expensive to make art. And then around 2016, I think people started changing. They don't speak their own mind that much, it's just my opinion. So I feel like America started losing freedom of speech because people really afraid of being judged. People really afraid of being labeled as racist or sexist or whatever. They really avoiding conflict and not speaking their own mind. And it's seeing that as a Japanese is a little sad because that was the spirit of US for me. And I realized that I see a lot of people who are very pessimistic about America. Oh, like America is horrible. Like you should go back to Japan. Or like I'm jealous you can live in Japan. But I still love America. I still see hope in America because for me it won't change. But I think it's same things that happening in Japan. People in Japan is really pessimistic about Japan. So Japanese now and American now is kind of similar. They both don't have great hope for their own countries. But as Japanese in America, I still have hope for both countries. I'm very optimistic about America and Japan both. And I love both countries, and both are my home. But here's things. I kind of miss Japan now. Living in the US, I kind of installed the West mindset. From a Japanese perspective, I'm 10 years gaijin, right? So I can see Japan as like 30% gaijin perspective. Meaning, I can still enjoy Japan without feeling peer pressure or some feeling bad about discriminated. I mean, I won't get discriminated that much because I'm Japanese, but definitely there's something that people expect me. Likely my family doesn't have it. They're very supportive of what I've been doing, like when I do art and YouTube. But I think my grandmother have it. But it's okay. What I'm saying is that I'm not lucky one. Most people in Japan is really struggling about high expectation and peer pressure. It's true. That's one of the most negative things about Japan. But again, I'm a little gaijin since I'm living in New York for 10 years, over 10 years. So I feel like even I went to Japan without feeling stress, I feel like I can keep myself, like I keep myself in New York City. And also, Japan is really changing now. I'm not sure if it's good direction or bad direction. People started talking about more politics. People started talking about more like their mind lately. Because Japanese economy is going down and we started feeling in danger. So we need to speak up. And I really like that. And I realized that people in the US don't much have freedom of speech anymore. Like they started losing freedom of speech, like Japanese, because definitely there's a peer pressure in the US as well. Especially when it comes to politics, you really can't speak honestly because you always, not you, a lot of people around me, they really avoiding talking politics. I had a good friend, here's my coworker actually, he told me that he was really worried being labeled as sexist or racist. Even he's not, but he can't talk because he's really afraid being mislabeled. And I see a lot of people being like that in the US. I mean, in New York. So I realized that New York doesn't have New York that I wanted to see because New York is changing. And at the same time, I'm starting missing Japan. So I'm really thinking. The problem is, I have a green card. I'm not a citizen of the United States, so I have no right to vote. But there's a rule. To keep my green card status, I need to live in the US at least half a year in a year. Meaning, after I move to Japan, after half a year, I need to come back to the US. Meaning, I cannot fully commit living in Japan at this moment. What should I do? What should I do really? And another option, it's so random, but I want to move to Texas because Texas looks cool and I love cowboy hat. I'm not joking. I want to have a life that I can wear a cowboy hat every day. And I want to see people wearing cowboy hat. So, yeah, I don't know. But Japan is really a trend. And I see a lot of influencers talking about Japan. But I realized that there's no Japanese perspective in it. And I think it's gonna be fun if I can show more local and something more deep inside of Japan. And I wanna do that too. And also, I wanna explore that myself. So, I've been really thinking going back to Japan or moving to Texas. Because Texas is cheap, Maybe I can keep my green card and I still pay a rent and I go back to Japan 6 months and I come back to Texas later. But in New York, it's almost impossible. But yeah, that's the reason why I'm living in the US. For art, seeking freedom of speech and being myself. And I want to see more world. I want to see America. And I realized that it's my home. And the same thing as Japan. And that's it. That's why I'm thinking moving to Japan. And also, I don't know. It's one of the biggest turning points. By the way, wherever you are, I hope you have a happy day today and peace. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, click on the left for the fun video about Japan and on the right to see more videos. You guys have a great day.